everybody, Myles here. Welcome back to another video. So today I have a piece that I was actually commissioned a couple months ago, and I wanted to post it here because I actually had a pretty hard time with it, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about the bit of struggle I had when making the piece. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Although this painting at first glance seems like it might just be a simple portrait, and that's kind of what I thought too, that wasn't necessarily the case. This painting is from a picture that had been taken at golden hour of sunset, meaning right when the sun starts to dip below the horizon and its light is very bright and very yellow. So the reflections on the skin and the figure in this painting became very purple in their shadows and very bright yellow in their highlights. I had never really painted something with this style of lighting before, and although this was definitely a great try for it, it was very difficult for me to achieve. You'll see me throughout the video going over the face repetitively, trying to get those colors right. It was really interesting for me in this piece to work with purple as sort of a skin color. Painting the skin on figures is probably one of my favorite parts about painting, and painting people in general. For those of you who don't necessarily know my art, I do prefer to paint people more than anything else. I think figurative painting is really interesting, and I really like to capture the human form. That being said, there's something about skin and painting skin. It just appears so smooth and yet has so much depth to it. But it was really interesting to work with sort of purple as a skin color because I tend to work with, shades of skin that are more commonly found in nature. Because purple is not necessarily anyone's actual skin color, but because of the way the light reflects in the piece and the way it makes the shadows look, it really does look in some cases like someone can have purple skin. But as you can see, as I keep going back and forth to paint through the face, there's tons of different values laid out on that face. I've mapped them out pretty well so I know what to paint where, but the lights and darks are really severe and really intense, and they're very close to each other because of the way the sun was setting. It's not till more towards the end of the video do I really put in those bright yellows that the skin needed. I've been using watercolor for quite a while, and I used to use it pretty early into my college career, but this was one of the first commissions I got when I started offering out of college, and I was pretty unfamiliar with watercolor at the time just because it had been probably about a year and a half or two since I'd really gone in with the media. Since then, I think I've improved a lot in my watercolor works, and it's absolutely my main form of media now. But this was a particularly challenging piece for me just because I wasn't so familiar with watercolor anymore. And watercolor, unlike almost every other paint, is very unforgiving. Once you make a mark, it's pretty hard to get rid of it, and it's pretty hard to cover it up because watercolor paints are entirely translucent. If you want something to be covered up, you'd have to switch to a gouache, which is more opaque, or use some sort of white to kind of mask it. But even then, it's pretty difficult to hide your mistakes with watercolor. So that's why the main process for the medium is to start light and go dark over time, because you have to make sure that all of the strokes you're putting down are very intentional. I wanted to go with more of a simpler video this week because I have some big projects coming up in the future on this channel. I am also going to begin moving this weekend into a new place. I've been living with my parents since the pandemic started, and now finally moving into a place of my own for the time being, where I will be able to have my own art studio, and I'll be able to film all sorts of videos in there, which is very exciting, but it's going to be a pretty busy couple weeks, but I will be posting some videos about that as well, so please stay tuned. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. My social media links are in the description box below. Follow me on Instagram to see more regularly posted artwork, as well as some personal things. And follow me on TikTok to see shorter and more videos than the ones you see on here. And I will see you next week. Bye.